Have you ever left a conversation feeling exhausted and irritated? Like, no matter what you said or did, the other person just had to make things difficult. Maybe it's that coworker who constantly finds something wrong with your work, or a friend who turns every conversation into a therapy session, but only for themselves. Or worse, it could be a family member who leaves you feeling anxious after every interaction. It's like no matter how hard you try, dealing with these people just feels toxic. We've all been there. Toxic people exist in all areas of life. But here's the good news. You don't have to let them control your emotions. You need to take back the power. By the end of this video, you'll know 10 smart ways to handle toxic people like a pro. Trust me, it's something you won't want to miss. To begin with, one essential skill in managing toxic people is learning to set boundaries. Toxic individuals thrive on pushing others past their limits. They'll ask for more time, energy, and attention than you're willing to give. You need to build a fence, build a wall. Identify what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. Communicate this clearly and directly. It's about being firm, assertive, about standing your ground. You don't just let anyone waltz in whenever they feel like it. Your life, your emotional space, that's your house. Here's a secret toxic people don't want you to know. They feed on drama. They want you to react emotionally because that's how they maintain control. The more you argue, defend yourself, or try to prove something, the deeper you get pulled into their toxic vortex. Look, you can't reason with someone who's not interested in reason. They thrive on chaos. Trying to win an argument with a toxic person is like trying to nail Jell-O to a wall. It's a pointless exercise in frustration. So, what should you do instead? Disengage, don't take the bait. When they start their usual drama, don't get sucked in. Remember, you don't owe them an explanation. When you're forced to interact with toxic people, whether it's at work, family gatherings, or social events, sometimes the best strategy is to keep the conversation short and neutral. Why? Because the more time you spend with them, the more opportunity they have to drag you into negativity. So, how do you keep those conversations short and sweet? First, stick to surface level topics. Talk about the weather, current events, anything that's unlikely to trigger an emotional response. Second, have an exit strategy ready. If the conversation starts to veer into negative territory, politely excuse yourself. You can say something like, "It was good seeing you," or "I need to catch up with someone else." The key is to be polite, but firm. Remember, you're not obligated to give them more time or energy than you're comfortable with. Focus on solutions instead of problems. Toxic people obsess over everything that's wrong. They'll complain and criticize without wanting to fix anything. They'll drag you into that negative spiral. It's like they're stuck in quicksand and want to pull you down, but you don't have to jump in with them. Shift the focus to solutions. Ask, what can we do about it? You can't control their behavior, but you can control your response. One of the most powerful words in your vocabulary when dealing with toxic people is no. Toxic individuals often rely on your hesitation or unwillingness to say no. They know that many people are uncomfortable with rejecting requests or standing up for themselves. They relentlessly pressure others until they get what they seek. But you know what? You have the right to say no. You don't have to explain yourself, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. Say it with me, no. Feels good, doesn't it? Now, I understand that saying no can be difficult, especially if you're used to people pleasing. But believe me, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. Start small. If someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, say, no, I can't do that right now. Remember, no is a complete sentence. Now let's talk about limiting your time with toxic people. This is especially important when it's someone you can't easily cut out of your life, like a family member or a coworker. You can't avoid them entirely, but you can control how much time and energy you give. Think of it like this. You wouldn't spend all day, every day in a toxic waste dump, would you? You'd limit your exposure to protect yourself. Well, it's the same with toxic people. If you have to work with them, keep your interactions brief and professional. If it's a family member, limit your visits or phone calls. And when you are around them, have an exit strategy. Don't feel obligated to stay in a situation that's draining you. It's okay to say, I have to go now, or I need some time to myself. Remember, you're not being selfish by protecting your own well-being. One of the biggest traps we fall into with toxic people is taking their behavior personally. When someone criticizes us, belittles us, or manipulates us, it's easy to internalize it and feel like it's our fault. But here's something crucial to understand. It's not about you. It's about them. Toxic people are often projecting their own insecurities and unhappiness onto others. They're like emotional vampires, sucking the energy out of anyone who gets too close. They're not happy with themselves, so they try to make others miserable too. Don't let them drag you down to their level. Remember, their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. Don't give them the power to define your worth. Their words say more about them than they do about you. So the next time a toxic person tries to bring you down, take a step back and remind yourself that it's not personal. When dealing with toxic people, it's crucial to counterbalance their negativity with positive influences. Toxic individuals can drain your energy and leave you feeling low, but surrounding yourself with supportive, uplifting people can help recharge your emotional battery. Think of it like this. If you're constantly exposed to poison, you need an antidote, right? Well, positive people are the antidote to toxic people. Spend time with friends and family who make you feel good about yourself. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Choose to surround yourself with people who lift you up, encourage you, and make you feel good about yourself. Sometimes, the best way to deal with a toxic person is through emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It simply means not letting their actions or words affect you emotionally. You don't take it personally. Well, emotional detachment is like watching a movie of your life with a toxic person in it. You can acknowledge their behavior without getting sucked into the drama. How do you do that? By reminding yourself that you can't control their actions, but you can control your reactions. Focus on your own well-being. Don't engage in their negativity. Detach from the outcome. Finally, one of the most important strategies for dealing with toxic people is knowing when to walk away. Sometimes, no matter how many boundaries you set, or how much you try to distance yourself emotionally, the relationship remains toxic. And you know what? That's okay. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. If someone is constantly draining your energy, bringing you down, and disrespecting your boundaries, it might be time to cut them loose. Now, I know this can be a difficult decision, but you have to ask yourself, is this relationship serving me? Is it adding value to my life? If the answer is no, then it might be time to walk away. You deserve to be surrounded by people who love and support you, not people who drag you down. Choose wisely. So, there you have it. The 10 smart ways to handle toxic people like a pro. Each of these tips is a tool you can use to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Whether it's setting boundaries, focusing on solutions, or knowing when to walk away. But remember how I said I'd share the number one method for dealing with any toxic person? Here it is: self-awareness. You've got to know yourself, understand your triggers, your weaknesses, your strengths. The more self-aware you become, the better you can recognize when someone's behavior is toxic and how it's affecting you. So the next time you find yourself dealing with a toxic person, pause and check in with yourself. You've got the power to control your life, not those toxic people.